Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are once again back with the 2023 December Advent Calendar. So today, for tutorial number 2, we're going to be taking a look at custom spruce/pine trees, whatever you want to call it. Now, if you're curious about this structure right here, this was yesterday's tutorial video. It is a 2-tall flower farm in a decorative little gazebo. And if you're interested in more details about this build and how to build it, I will link that video down in the description below. Anyways, today's focus is on the beautiful trees surrounding it. So when it comes to building custom pine trees, of course, you can have taller ones, you can have shorter ones. These ones are about 15 blocks tall. And I also recommend using a variation of leaves. So when I built these, I originally built them with just the spruce leaves. But what I noticed is as I built it, I added in some birch, and it's a very subtle color change, but it works very well with that type of tree. And I think it really adds just that extra detail. Also, when it comes to making branches, unless you're building a super ginormous tree with like a 3-4 block wide trunk, you should really stick to thinner branches, so fence posts or fence gates. Also, you got to be thinking about how trees would naturally be in the real world. As you get to the top of the tree, your branches would be getting smaller, while at the bottom of the tree, the branches are larger. Just paying attention to those small little details like there are in the real world, you can really help make a tree that looks just very beautiful and elegant and realistic. Now, I'm not going to include a full materials list because every tree should be different, but the general resources that I have are these 5 different blocks. We got spruce logs, spruce fences, spruce fence gates, spruce leaves, and birch leaves. Now, let's go ahead and walk through the process of just building a custom spruce tree. We're going to go ahead and build ours right here in this little flowery field. So when it comes to building your custom spruce tree, you want to start with the general shape of the tree. First of all, figure out how tall you want your tree to be. Make up your pillar. If it looks too tall, you can remove some blocks. And of course, if it looks too short, you can go ahead and add some more. But just get your pole of spruce logs to the height that you would like. Then from there, I recommend starting to add some smaller branches on the top. Now, when it comes to the top of the tree, I like using the fence post instead of the fence gate, because the fence post looks like a very small and stubby branch, while the fence gate comes out a bit farther. So when you're working down the tree, I like to do fence posts, then fence gates, and then a mixture of the two, where you have fence posts and then fence gates closer to the edge of that branch. So let's go ahead and just add in our branches at random, wherever you think that a branch is needed. I like adding the leaves last because that is generally the part where you're just going to randomly place some blocks around until you find something that looks generally good. But what's really good about adding in your branches first is that with your branches, you kind of get a blueprint or something to follow. So you get general loose instructions on something to follow and base your build off of. And if you want, you can even do diagonal branches. Just have little branches coming off of the tree like this. But when it comes to pine trees, I like to just stick to smaller little branches coming straight off the side of the tree. I think that those diagonal branches, especially on a little pine tree, don't tend to look the greatest. Now, once you have the branches in, we can go ahead and grab our leaves. So what I like doing is off the very top of our spruce logs, I just go up by 2. And then from there, I work my way down. So I like to put one generally on top of each of the fences and fence gates. And then I start trying to fill in the gaps areas. So here, I'm going to set up like this. You want to try and leave some areas where there's still going to be an air block, because if it's all densely packed together and I just put leaves everywhere like this, you're not really going to get that airy, flowy tree feeling. But by trying to leave some gaps, leave some spots for air to flow through, it makes it look a bit more realistic and just adds to the whole tree overall. So we're just going to carry on, but if we just step back and we take a decent look at it, maybe not from this side, but from this side, you can start to see the tree getting filled in, but you can still see parts of the log, which just, it looks good and enhances that overall tree feeling, I believe. And if you get to a spot where you're going to have a bunch of leaves right next to each other, rather than just doing like a bunch of the same, try to break it up a bit, you know, add in some of the different types of leaves and just make things look better. Also, if you need to, you can just go ahead and come out a little bit and add some random leaves, just kind of standing there. So right here, we're just going to add this one random leaf floating there. We're actually going to make it spruce. And actually, let's come down by one. And it just kind of fills in the space without cluttering all the leaves together, like right in this one area. Which again adds to that airy feel, like there's a flow to the tree where wind could theoretically go through, and you could see a nice breeze in the branches. Now here I am going to leave some of the branch exposed. Maybe there's leaves that have been eaten off by an animal, or picked off, whatever you want. Let's go ahead and add a spruce leaf there, maybe a birch there, spruce there. And of course, as you're going, you might realize that you need or want to add an extra branch in somewhere. So here, I'm actually going to go ahead and add in an extra branch, a bit smaller though, because we're getting a bit closer to the bottom, and I might come in and make the bottom of the trunk a little bit thicker once I'm done. Alright, so I just filled out a bit more of the tree. I added in another small branch down here. What's this? That's birch. So let's do a spruce there. I'm going to add a birch. No. Let's do a spruce there. Let's remove that birch. Let's add a birch there. Yeah, it's just a matter of filling things in until they look pleasing to the eye. It's a bit tricky at times, but it shouldn't end up being all that difficult. I think I'll remove that actually. But there, overall, I'm happy with this tree. I think there's a few more spots where I could fill things in just a little bit better. Like right there, for example. But I do want to leave some of that airy flow, so when you're looking at it from the bottom, you can kind of look up. But I do feel like that needs to get covered a little bit more. Yeah, just play around with it, walk around your tree until you're happy with the way that it looks. But just following this general strategy, you're going to get a tree that looks pretty good. And by mixing these two leaves, you get that extra little bit of attention to detail. Even though you're not really doing much or putting much thought into it, it makes the tree look like you did. And it also makes it look a bit more natural, because on a real tree, sometimes you'll just get random variations, whether it's because of shadows, the way the sun's hitting it, but you're going to get those random variations in color. And whether it's because of the tree or lighting, it just really adds to the look. Now, if you want, you can reinforce the trunk a little bit, like I've done on all of these. I am actually going to go ahead and add a little bit to the trunk. This is a smaller tree, though. Now, if you're doing this, you might want to use stairs and or slabs. Fully up to you. I'm going to try and just add a little bit. make the tree look a little bit larger. Because this is a bit of a shorter one and the leaves are closer to the ground though, because this is a bit shorter than the others, the trunk isn't going to be as large. And to be honest, the trunks on these ones might be a bit too large. Probably could just leave it there. I want to add something on this side though, make it look a bit more filled out. Maybe I add a fence post. And you can just leave it like that. And there, you have now built a successful, custom, beautiful spruce / pine tree. Again, whatever you want to call it. So as you can see, it's not really that hard of a process. It's just that people they need a direction to be pointed in. People just don't really know the strategies. And as I've just shown, you just have to leave a bit of room, maybe some air gaps, make the tree look alive, make it look a bit natural, and make it look flowy. When you're building custom trees, a good rule of thumb is maybe 60-40. Make sure that you have that good leaf coverage, but try and leave 40% of it airy, allow you to see the trunk, make it look a bit more realistic. Because in all real trees, not every tree is perfect. There is no such thing as perfection in nature. And by making sure that you show some of those imperfections in your build, it just makes it look a lot more natural and come to life. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this tutorial, please consider subscribing and hitting the like. Maybe share it with your friends to teach them how to build these custom trees as well. Now, my voice sounds a little weird right now. I'm kind of losing my voice, so I'm trying to finish this up. But happy holidays, and I hope you all come back for the third tutorial of our 2023 December Advent Calendar tomorrow. Goodbye.